the chosen one. The king in you is rising, and you are the one. You may not recognize it yet, but something holy and powerful is emerging inside you. A royal spark, a holy frequency, a long-dormant authority waiting for the right time to emerge. That moment is now. You are not, and have never been, ordinary. This world attempted to persuade you that you were ordinary, that your aspirations were unachievable, and that your strength was excessive. But what they were truly doing was responding to the king energy that has always been inside you. The royalty is growing. You didn't come upon this message by chance. No. As you hear these words, you are experiencing a divine alignment, a cosmic meeting of your soul and destiny. You aren't simply listening. You are awakening something old inside you. The throne you were meant to sit on is calling your name. This is a moment for recollection and discovery. So watch this video till the finish and write your best wishes. 777 in the comments. A holy number that will trigger your manifestations and energize the world to fulfill your heart's desires. The chosen one. This is a chapter on power, prophesy, and the royal rise of your spirit. Now, choose one like this video. If you have not already done so, subscribe to the channel. Let we begin. You were never intended to blend in. You were born with divine distinctiveness. Life has always presented you with problems that most people would not be able to overcome. Not because you were being punished, but because God was teaching kings secretly. He was silently refining you in a fire-developing character, shaping your soul with precision. Why? Because a king cannot emerge unexpectedly. And you choose one. We're always intended to reign a sphere of influence, a kingdom of riches, and a zone of favor beyond what others could fathom. The inner king energy is not about ego. It is about faith. It's about walking with power, making judgments from your spiritual core, and standing strong in the face of adversity. When people think of royalty, they often envision crowns and palaces. But spiritual kingship goes far deeper. It's about taking control of your life, dominating the environment around you, and being so in sync with your creator that your mere presence starts to alter rooms. That's who you're becoming. That is what is now rising inside you. You may have already felt a change in your spirit, a bravery that didn't exist before. You feel compelled to choose a different action. That is not a coincidence. It's the king's waking. You are not going to wait for validation any longer. You are not asking for opportunity. You're not explaining yourself to those who never wanted to understand you. The monarch inside you is striding forth with clarity, accuracy, and quiet might. This universe does not prepare a throne until a monarch is on his way. Look about you. Things may be evolving. Relationships may be ending. The old may be collapsing. However, do not panic. It's all part of the prep. A king cannot ascend when bound by old identities, broken habits, or fear-based commitments. This is why everything had to come apart. That's why you had to remain concealed for a while. Because when the king rises, he is pure, focused, and prepared for the summons. The monarch in you isn't looking for approval from the rabble. He is just committed to the truth. You are being elevated to stand tall and quiet, letting your energy express your presence. The selected never have to prove themselves. You are now moving into that truth. You don't need to over-explain or overstay in situations where your majesty is not appreciated. The monarch inside you is now teaching you how to move in mysterious ways, talk with authority, and act with perfect timing. Understand this. Your crown has always existed, but it was previously unseen to the world. Only your soul can feel this. You were concealed because monarchs must be safeguarded while they evolve. The anguish you went through was not punishment. It was a preparation. Every rejection, every loss, every moment of isolation. It was not a setback. It was sacrosanct position. You were being linked with your future, not separated from your past. You are now entering a land inhabited by kings. You go through doors where your name has already been spoken. You're going to see possibilities for your advancement that have been postponed because God will never allow your influence to overshadow your honesty. But now that your heart is aligned, your vision is focused, and your faith is solidified, the king inside you is ready. This version of you does not represent your history. It is a proclamation of your destiny. You will communicate with authority, not arrogance. You are going to lead, not follow. You will attract rather than pursue, and those who previously disregarded you will be amazed at how far you have come. But don't try to prove them incorrect. Concentrate on proving yourself correct. Your journey is royal, and royalty does not haste. You wake at the best time. You may have realized that your interests are no longer the same. That is the shift. This is the holy shedding of the old self. When the monarch wakes, he no longer allows diversions. He no longer accepts mediocrity. He no longer submits to structures that undermine his mission. You are altering, developing, and becoming. And it is all amazing. It's all part of the prophecy that existed before you breathed your first breath. Let it sink in. You were called before you were aware. You were picked before you ever existed. Your ascent was predetermined in the sky. That chapter is now developing. The monarch in you is not waking up by accident. It has been called by the divine chronology of your existence. Every storm, every betrayal you've overcome, every closed door you encountered, these were not just obstacles. These were invites. Invitations to explore your inner self, awaken your higher nature, and remember the truth. You have always said that you are not here to beg, shrink, or fit in. You're come to claim your proper position. To construct what? You are the only one who can construct. And to walk with the calm fire of someone who understands they were created to rule. Allow this truth to resound in your soul. A king's presence is sensed without having to scream. Power is manifested in presence. Authority is an energy. And as you climb, people will notice a difference in your frequency before you say anything. That is the hallmark of heavenly rulership. That is the mark of the selected. What you have gone through was never intended to break you. It was intended to mold you. It was heaven's private coronation ceremony, done in isolation rather than in front of a throng, in quiet, in holy tension. You see, before a monarch is publicly unveiled, he must be secretly perfected. This explains why you were isolated. This explains why you were misunderstood. This explains why you were neglected. It was not because you lacked. It was because God was sculpting. You were not rejected by the world. You were sheltered from the outside world. Because even the most resilient spirit may be weakened by early exposure. But now that your heart has been humbled and your spirit has been lifted, you may finally wear the crown that has always belonged to you. And this time, you will wear it without shame, fear, or apology. Allow that crown to be formed of your character. Let it be formed in the fire. Allow it to settle on your head, not simply for people to admire, but as a symbol of your fortitude, divine mission, and unwavering faith in something greater than what you see. You do not need to explain your metamorphosis to others who have never seen your agony. You do not need to seek permission to ascend. You only need to remember who you are. The monarch in you does not look back. He recognizes that what lies behind him was essential, but no longer relevant. The monarch in you does not seek affirmation. He realizes that the throne does not shift. You rise to face it. And that is precisely what you are doing now. Rising to the occasion. Rising in spirit. Increasing in authority. Rising with elegance. And the increase. It is not loud. It is not chaotic. It's exact. It is silent. It is divine. Pay attention to the indicators around you. People who formerly questioned you are paying careful attention. Energies are shifting in your favor. Ideas that were previously trapped behind spiritual doors are now pouring to you. That's not a coincidence. That is heavenly orchestration. The universe has recognized the king in you and is now arranging everything to fit your new frequency. When you change, everything associated with you must likewise change or be eliminated. This isn't punishment. It's a promotion. You're going to realize how easy some things disappear from your life. Conversations that were once exciting will now seem empty. Places that were once comforting will now feel restrictive. People who formerly felt at home will now feel far away. Don't resist. Do not pursue it. Do not resist it. The monarch inside you is outgrowing everything designed for a previous version of you. That is part of the royal way. Now is the moment to think like royalty. You're not thinking about survival anymore. You're thinking about domination. You are making choices out of fear. You're behaving with supernatural assurance. Your emotions no longer guide your movements. Your spirit is. That is the shift. This is what elevation looks like. It's the clarity that follows pandemonium. It is the gaze that breaks through illusions. It is the insight that comes only after you have lost everything and understood that nothing really valuable can be taken away from you. So let your enthusiasm to speak volumes. Allow your quiet to startle those who previously underestimated you. Allow your presence to alter the environment. When the king enters a room, everything changes, even if he does not say anything. Because a genuine monarch does not talk to be heard, but to communicate the truth. And now you're moving into the truth. The fact is that you are powerful. The reality is you were never average. The fact is that you bear a generational mission. The fact is that no matter who attempted to halt, mark, or obstruct you, you still ascended. And now that you've risen, nothing can return you back to where you've already evolved. It's time to walk, move, and think differently. Your history is not a jail. It was your platform. Your anguish was not in vain. It was your purifying. And as you continue further, you'll observe the doors opening. Not because of who you claim to be, but because of who you really are. Authenticity is your crown right now. Alignment is your armor. Wisdom is your weapon, and favor is your birthright. This isn't merely a season of transition. It's the season of coronations. You're not changing into anything new. You're becoming the person you were intended to be. The king is the leader, the voice, and the visionary. You are embracing your most powerful persona. Beyond words, I picked one. You are not just ascending. You're being revealed. The process you're going through does not include becoming someone new. It's about finally revealing the person you've always been underneath. The impact of trauma, limitations, uncertainty, and spiritual assaults. The monarch inside you has been buried behind years of survival, quiet, and pain. But you're now being reintroduced to your genuine self. The version of yourself that does not flinch in the face of fear. The version of you that does not sacrifice your worth to fit into a broken system is the one who walks as if your name is already recognized in rooms you have not yet visited. The milieu around you is changing to reflect your inner harmony energetically, spiritually, and emotionally. You're vibrating with a new frequency. It's no surprise that old ties seem stale. It's no wonder that some talks are boring you now. You're being recoded from inside. The old mentality is disintegrating. The old identity is collapsing because the king inside cannot see through the glasses of your previous wounds. He must go forward with vision, not victimization. And your vision is broadening. You're starting to perceive your life from the perspective of royalty. You no longer approach problems as if you were weak. You're probably wondering what the king in you is up to now. You don't avoid accountability. You approach it with elegance. You do not dodge uncomfortable talks. You approach things with judgment and clarity. You do not shy away from your calling. You embrace it like a crown that has always been waiting on your head. This isn't a fantasy. This is how your fate unfolds. You're not imagining the weight on your shoulders. That is the weight of leadership. The tug you sense in your soul. That is the cry for heavenly ascension. You are not here to go around in circles, repeating patterns, and disguising your true self in order to make others comfortable. You've come to be the disturbance. You're here to set the standard. You are here to bring heaven's order into your life, your surroundings, your community, and beyond. You are the person your lineage has been waiting for. Royalty in the spirit is not about material wealth. It's about taking personal responsibility. You have not been fortunate just for yourself. You are fortunate because others will benefit from your actions. Your breakthrough is not isolated. It's generational. Your ascension is about more than just looking good. It's about fulfilling your spiritual mission, lighting the path for others to remember who they are too. The king in you understands that this journey will not always be pleasant. It will frequently feel lonely, but it will always be worthwhile. Because you were not meant to be common. You were summoned to be selected. And selected ones do not form in multitudes. They were crafted in isolation. So if you've been feeling isolated from others, it's not because of a problem. It's because something holy is correct. Isolation is not punishment. It's a beautiful classroom. And your chosen one has been graduating in silence. You've been getting downloads that others can't understand. You have been receiving instructions in dreams, nudges in your spirit, confirmation of your insight. You can trust that. Believe what you feel. Trust in what God is accomplishing behind the scenes. You are being prepared for monarchy in the domain of the invisible. And now the proof of that inner transformation will begin to manifest in your outside environment. You'll discover that heavenly timing begins to favor you. Things that used to take months will now happen in seconds. Doors that were sealed will spring open without notice. Opportunities will arise from the ashes. Resources will find you in ways you never expected. That is not random. That is royalty. When a ruler arises, creation reacts. Don't be surprised if people start treating you differently. Some will sense your change and go quiet. Not because you did anything wrong, but because your light shines through their darkness. Others will be drawn to your serenity, composure, and strength because they feel that something extraordinary is happening in your life. Yes, some will want to drag you back into former versions of yourself. Remember, the monarch inside you does not lower his frequency in order to be understood. He stands firm in his truth, and the proper people rise to meet it. You're not here to justify your promotion. You are here to embody it. Walk as if your steps are divinely organized, because they are. Speak as if they were your own words. Carry weight because they make decisions as if your future depended on it. Because it does. You're no longer guessing who you are. You're claiming it. You're wearing your crown, even if others cannot see it. And you move with the serene certainty of someone who has already won in the spirit and is now seeing that triumph materialize in the physical world. It's not only a good season. This is the royal one. Maintain focus on your mission. Maintain your tranquility. Above all, be true to the version of yourself that heaven created, not the one that this earth attempted to program. More to come. The king inside you is just starting to emerge. There comes a period in every chosen life when the inner world overpowers the outward one. When the internal voice overpowers the external noise. It is now time for you to choose one. You're not just going ahead, you are climbing, and not all heights can be described. Some must just be embodied. That is exactly what the king in you is doing right now. Claim territory and the unseen. Walking onto spiritual thrones before becoming physical kings begins with a stance in the soul. And your spirit has matured beyond the shallow expectations people set on you, the smallness they attempted to cage you into, and the version of yourself that felt you had to dull your light in order to be appreciated. It was never you. That was an illusion. That was the old self that needed to be broken so that your genuine self could emerge. The monarch in you does not seek permission to shine. The king inside you is the source of light. And when you shine, others either adapt or fade away. You now realize why some things didn't work out previously. It wasn't a rejection. It was a heavenly redirection. Because you couldn't govern in a space that forced you to shrink. You couldn't do your work in quarters that were never designed to accommodate your excellence. So the locked doors were not a curse. They were shields. God was protecting your nobility from premature access. Allow this to sink deeply into your soul. Each delay was wonderful. You couldn't wear the crown if you weren't cured. The throne could hardly be claimed with damaged emotions. The realm couldn't be dominated by emotional instability. But now you've developed clarity, faith, and discipline. This is your royal armor.